Good morning, Victory Kids Quest. It is so good to see you guys. How was your week at school? My week was amazing. It's a little bit different, with COVID, and maybe it tires us out a little bit, but it's so good to still be able to get together. Now stay tuned, because later this month, you're going to get to see one of your workers on one of our videos, and we may actually be able to have a small activity that you guys can attend in just a few weeks, because this coming up week is already October 1st. So stay tuned for some details over the next few weeks of some exciting things that we're planning for you guys over the holidays. And guys, I want to tell you one thing before we start our video today. Caleb and Sarah at our church. We love Caleb and Sarah Cruz, and they've been a part of our Kids Quest since they were very, very small. Well, they have the blessing and the opportunity to be able to move, and they're moving kind of far away. They're moving to Nevada, and they were able to buy a home there, and their parents have some new jobs, and they're going to be going to a new school. And I want you guys to take some time, even today, to just pray for them. Pray for Caleb and Sarah that they'll have a safe trip. They're leaving this week for their new home, for their new house, and pray that they get acquainted and they make good friends at their new school, and that they make some good friends at the new church that they're going to go to. So this week I'd love to just have you guys spend some time in prayer with your family for them. Now, we opened up today with one of my favorite songs, Power in the Blood. Do you guys remember singing that on Sundays sometimes, or even at VBS? Right? And that song talks about the power that we have in Jesus, the power that He gives us with love, with forgiveness, right? For helping to keep us in a good relationship, in a strong relationship with Him. When we follow Him, He gives us that power of His love, His protection, and His forgiveness. And this week, we're going to kick off a new series of how, because of Jesus's power, right? How people that needed true forgiveness, just like we do sometimes, how they became brand new people. This season we're going into starting this week is fall. I love fall. It is my favorite season of all of the 4 seasons. And one of the reasons I love fall are the colors, the smells, the cooler weather. And one thing is, you guys know, we have a lot of trees around that change colors. The leaves change colors, and sometimes they even change color and begin to fall, and you come home and maybe your yard is full of these beautiful color leaves that have fallen. And we see lots of changes in the season of fall. Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about with some of these people we see in the Bible over the next few weeks, how they were able to change because of the power of Jesus and the power of his blood when Jesus died on the cross for our sins. How many of you guys have a favorite tree? Do you have a favorite tree? Do you have a favorite type of tree? Maybe you have a favorite tree you like to climb? Ever? Yeah? I like to try to do that when I was a kid. I liked to enjoy doing that. Well, the person we're going to talk about today who had a huge change in his life also liked to climb trees. I bet you guys already know who it is. Who would you think it is? If we're going to talk about someone who had a huge change because the power of Jesus's blood, because of that power of forgiveness, and he liked to climb trees. Call it out. I know some of you were yelling out Zacchaeus. You guys are so smart. And that's exactly who we're going to look at today. You know, Zacchaeus, we know a little bit about him. We know he lived in the city of Jericho. And we know he was a really rich dude. He was rich because, not because he worked hard for it, but because he actually stole from people. Now, you guys, he did have a job. He worked for the city of Jericho, and he was a tax collector. You know, when you guys go to the school or to the store and you think something is $5, but when you get there, it actually costs $5.30 or something like that. That's what we call taxes. And a lot of times, we don't like to pay taxes. It's more money, extra money that we have to pay, right? Well, way back then in the Bible times, they had to pay their taxes too. And so Zacchaeus would have a list of people he would have to go and collect house to house to house taxes, right, for the city and for the country that they lived in. But what he would do is he would lie about how much the people really owed. Maybe they only owed $4, but he would tell them, you owe $8. Maybe they would really owe $2, and he would tell them, you owe $10. And he became very, very rich from lying and stealing. Let me show you the kind of rich that he was. I have some money in my pocket. And you know, if we lived in Zacchaeus' time, this would be like the money that he would be carrying around in his pocket. Do you guys carry around all this money in your pocket? Usually not. But Zacchaeus was rich, rich, rich. He was a set up dude. He had more money than he could even spend, more money than he could even need, right? Well, one day in the city of Jericho where he lived, people heard that Jesus was coming through. Jesus had been traveling around teaching and preaching, and now it was his time to come through the city of Jericho. Well, you know, Zacchaeus had heard about this man Jesus, and he wanted to try and get to meet him, get to know him, ask him some questions. So he travels to the downtown cities, or the downtown part of the city that day, and it was crowded with people. There were people everywhere. The roads, the paths, and the streets were full. Now, another thing we know about Zacchaeus from God's storybook, the Bible, is Zacchaeus was a little bit short. Now, I've never had that problem, but I've heard sometimes if you're a little bit short, you can't always see everything very well, right? And that was a problem Zacchaeus had. He's trying to get through the crowd. Nobody's letting him in. Nobody's being friendly to him because, unfortunately, he wasn't a man with a lot of friends. The people in Jericho knew who he was. They knew he wasn't honest. They knew he stole from them. So he didn't have a lot of friends saying, hey, come join us, or take my front row seat to see Jesus, right? Wasn't happening. But, you know, Zacchaeus, he was smart, he was resourceful, and he noticed there were some trees in that area. In fact, they were sycamore trees. And so he decided to do something that maybe you guys like to do. He decided to climb a tree, and maybe it looked like something like this. We might have a guest in our tree, right? And maybe it looked something like that day. Zacchaeus is resourceful, and he's like, I'm going to use what is close to me to be able to see Jesus. So now back with our story. Zacchaeus is in this sycamore tree, and he can finally see where Jesus is. So Jesus is teaching and preaching to the people, and he's receiving them, and he's giving them blessings. And then he looks up in that tree, in that sycamore tree, and he calls out and he says, Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus, come down. Come down, because I am going to go to your house today. Well, Zacchaeus kind of froze in the tree because he was very surprised. How would this man know my name? How does he know who I am? It's because of the power that Jesus has that we sang about before this lesson, right? Jesus wasn't just a man like Zacchaeus first thought. Jesus is God's son, and he knows everything about us, and he knew Zacchaeus' name. So Zacchaeus runs down that tree and he approaches Jesus, and Jesus says, Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house today. So Zacchaeus takes him home, and he calls out for his servants, for his helpers at his house, to prepare a big meal, and he calls his family over. And they're sitting there, and Jesus is talking with Zacchaeus, and Zacchaeus is telling Jesus some of the things that he's done. Stealing, lying, cheating people. Did Jesus already know he was doing those things? Of course. Jesus knows all about us. But Jesus still loves us, and he loved Zacchaeus that day. He knew all about him, and Jesus loved him. And he wanted to give him that power of forgiveness. He wanted to give him the power of love. Zacchaeus that day asked Jesus for forgiveness. And you know what is amazing? Jesus knew the heart of Zacchaeus. He knew Zacchaeus really did want to change. And he tells Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus, today salvation has come to you and your household. To your entire house, salvation has come today. I love that story. You guys, we're going to look over the next few weeks of people that are just like Zacchaeus. They needed the power of Jesus' love, the power of his forgiveness, and that power is found in the power of the blood that Jesus shed for us on the cross. Now, Zacchaeus just didn't tell Jesus he wanted to change. You guys, the story doesn't stop there. The Bible's clear on what Zacchaeus did. He promised Jesus that day, you know what I'm going to do? I want everyone in Jericho and everywhere to know that I'm a changed man. Right now, today, I'm going to donate half of everything I own to the poor. And every single family that I went and I stole from and I cheated from them, I'm going to go back to them and I'm going to give them all the money that I stole from them. Plus, I'm going to give them 4 times more. So if he had stolen and cheated your family out of $100, he was going to give your family $400 back. That, my friends, is the power of true forgiveness, right? When we give our life and our heart and our mind to Jesus, we become a new person. And we don't go and keep on sinning on purpose and keep sinning and sinning and sinning on purpose. We repent from it. We turn from it. And by our actions, we show others that we're a follower of Jesus. Zacchaeus, by his actions, showed he was a follower of Jesus. And like I said, we're going to look over the next few weeks of more people in the Bible that needed a huge change. And with this power that Jesus gives to us, they changed and they became new people. You guys, I want you to stay tuned. I have 2 more things for you today. One is a fun retelling of the story. It's going to be funny. I want you to watch it. You're going to enjoy it. And then right after, we're going to have a Bible trivia game. I heard some of you guys were asking for it the last couple of weeks. So get your family together with you in the room and get ready to enjoy these last 2 things. Tune in next week to see what person we see from the Bible next that through the power of Jesus' love, protection, and forgiveness changed into a new person. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
It's time for a Bible story. A long time ago, in a town called Jericho, there lived a man named Zacchaeus.
Whoa, what's going on with that name there? Zacchaeus? How is anyone supposed to pronounce that?
Like this. Zacchaeus.
Zacchachusa.
No.
Zazacchino.
What? No, it's like Zach. Just say it after me. Zacchaeus.
Zachareka Ding Dong.
All right, now you're just trying to make it weird.
Yeah, I know. So who's this Zach Cheeto guy? What's his deal?
Zacchaeus was kind of an interesting guy. First of all, he was famous. Everybody in Jericho knew who he was.
Nice. Rolling like a big shot.
And he was totally rich. I'm talking fancy schmancy clothes, waterfall pool, blinged out toilet seat. He was loaded.
Cha-ching! My man, Zach Ebers, living the life.
Also, he was super short.
Wait, Really? That's part of the story?
Actually, yeah. What's the problem?
Just seems like you're getting a little personal there. I don't know, maybe jealous about the whole super rich fancy toilet thing?
No, it's really part of the story.
All right, just saying. So what, is this guy like everyone's favorite person?
No. Actually, everyone hated him.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, like everybody. I'm talking men, women, puppies, clowns, little baby squirrels. You name it. They did not like Zacchaeus one bit.
Man, what gives? Is Jericho just like a big town full of jerks?
No, there was definitely a reason. You see, Zacchaeus was a tax collector.
Ah, that explains it. He's the tax man. Classic case of the old income removal service, huh?
Pretty much. Zacchaeus would go around and collect tax money from all the people in Jericho.
But wait, hold on. That's not that bad, right? He's just doing his job. Why does everybody hate him so much?
Well, he wasn't just doing his job. He was a thief, a liar, a low-down, dirty, good-for-nothing crook. He used his job to steal from people. That's how he got so rich. Zacchaeus had a terrible reputation, and for good reason. He was not a good dude.
Ah, now it makes sense. So what happens next? Does everybody beat him up and take back all their money?
Nope. Here's what happened. One day, Jesus was traveling around the countryside, teaching and healing people like he would often do, and he happened to pass through Jericho. News spread fast that Jesus was there, and soon a huge crowd gathered to hear him speak.
Jesus was kind of a big deal whenever he went places, huh?
Oh yeah, tons of people came from all around to listen to Jesus, including Zacchaeus. He wanted to see Jesus and hear what he had to say, but there was a problem. The crowd was too big, and Zacchaeus, was just a little fella.
Hashtag short man problems. The struggle is real. So what'd he do?
Well, he wanted to see Jesus so badly that he was like, whatever, I don't care, and climbed way up in a tree to see over the crowd.
Man, he really wanted to see Jesus.
No joke. Here's a grown man, all fancy and rich and whatnot, climbing up a tree. He didn't care if people thought he was weird. He just wanted to see Jesus.
I mean, probably wasn't that big of a deal. From a distance, people probably just thought it was a kid, because the whole short thing.
Well, somebody noticed, and not just anybody. Jesus himself sees this guy climbing a tree to see him, and he stopped talking to the crowd. Everyone went silent as Jesus looked right at Zacchaeus, and the crowd waited on pins and needles to see what Jesus would say.
Oh man, this is it. Jesus is about to lay the smack down on Zacchaeus for being a low-down, dirty thief. He's gonna be all like, I know what you've been up to, you little nasty. You've been stealing and scheming, and it's time for you to pay. You didn't think you'd ever get caught, huh? Well, guess what? I'm Jesus, and I know everything. So pay up, punk. Ba-boom! Mic drop. And the crowd goes wild.
No, that's not what happened at all. Jesus stood there, looked Zacchaeus right in the eye, and said, Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. Let's go to your house and have dinner. Today, I will be your guest.
Whoa, forget mic drop, more like jaw drop. He really said that?
Yep.
Even though he knew Zacchaeus was like a total scumbag? Why?
Jesus knew that Zacchaeus had done some really bad things and had a lot of sin in his life, but Jesus also knew that Zacchaeus couldn't do anything bad enough to stop him from loving him. He wanted to spend time with Zacchaeus so that he could save him from the sin in his life.
Whoa, so what happened next?
Well, just like he said, Jesus went to Zacchaeus' house and had dinner with him, which was a huge deal. Before this, nobody hung out with Zacchaeus, and here's Jesus going to his house for dinner as his guest.
It's like I've always said, there ain't much that a good burger can't fix.
You never said that.
Well, it's still true.
After Zacchaeus spent time with Jesus, his heart was totally changed. He apologized to everyone for what he had done and gave half of his belongings to the poor. Then he paid back all the people he'd stolen from 4 times what he owed them.
Wow, he's like a totally different dude. I mean, still vertically challenged and everything, but on the inside, whoa, he's awesome. His life changed that much just from spending time with Jesus?
Totally. That's the cool thing about this story. It shows us this. Jesus already knows everything about you, all the good, all the bad, everything you've ever done or ever will do. But that doesn't stop him from wanting to be close to us. And just like Zacchaeus, the more you get to know Jesus, the more he will change your heart.
Dude, that is so cool. The next time I climb a tree, I'm going to think about this story where Jesus changed old Zacchacheeto's heart.
Well, it's Zacchaeus, but yeah, that's a cool idea.
Actually, scratch that. Next time I eat a Cheeto, I'm going to think about it because, let's be honest, I'm going to eat a Cheeto way before I'm going to climb a tree. Hashtag snacks for life.
Yeah, sounds about right. The end.
Welcome to Bible Trivia. This time we'll be asking questions about water. The first question for 100 points. At the Last Supper, what did Jesus wash? Was it A, his hands, B, the disciples' feet, C, the plates and cups, or D, the disciples' hands? The answer is B. At the Last Supper, Jesus washed the disciples' feet. The next question for 200 points. How long did it rain for during the flood that Noah experienced? Was it A, 150 days and 150 nights? B, 40 days and 40 nights? C, 30 days and 30 nights? Or D, 7 days and 7 nights? The answer is B. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights during the flood that Noah experienced. The next question for lots and lots of points. Who stepped out of a boat to walk on the water toward Jesus? Was it A, Andrew, B, Peter, C, James, or D, John? The answer is B. Peter stepped out of a boat to walk on the water toward Jesus. The next question for a total of 1/2 of a point. What kind of water did Jesus offer to the Samaritan woman? Was it A, fresh water, B, salty water, C, sweet water, or D, living water? The answer is D. Jesus offered living water to the Samaritan woman. The next question for 500 points. On what day did God create water? Was it A, the first day, B, the second day, C, the fifth day, or D, the sixth day? The answer is B. God created water on the second day. The next question for a supercalifragilistic number of points. Jesus was baptized in the water of which river? Was it A, the River Jordan, B, the Dead Sea, C, the Sea of Galilee, or D, the Mediterranean Sea? The answer is A. Jesus was baptized in the water of the River Jordan. The next question for 1,000 points. Including Noah, how many people were kept safe in the ark? Was it A, 2 people, B, 4 people, C, 6 people, or D, 8 people? The answer is D. Including Noah, 8 people were kept safe in the ark. The next question for 1,000 points. How did Moses divide the Red Sea so the Israelites could cross over? Did he A. lift up his hands and shout aloud, B. strike the sea with his rod, C. walk into the sea and command it to stop, or D. lift his rod and stretch his hand over the sea? The answer is D. Moses divided the Red Sea so that the Israelites could cross by lifting his rod and stretching his hand over the sea. The next question for 800 points. Who did Pharaoh's daughter find hidden in a basket in the Nile River? Was it A. Noah, B. Moses, C. Elijah, or D. Joseph? The answer is B. Pharaoh's daughter found Moses hidden in a basket in the Nile River. And the last question for double your current points. Why did the Lord want to destroy man by flood? Was it A. because man was too strong, B. because man was too wicked, C. because man was too smart, or D. because man was too nice? The answer is B. The Lord wanted to destroy man by flood because man was too wicked. Thank you for playing Bible Trivia. We hope you'll play again soon.